So I've been listening to a preview version of the audiobook by Dr. Benjamin Hardy called The Science of Scaling, and it has definitely blown my mind. Let me tell you why. The reason I would say it's blown my mind is because Benjamin Hardy is such a great writer and thinker that already anything he writes, I get because they're just that impactful. I can always expect great impact, right? But he talks about one of the co-authors of his book, Blake Erickson, and how he went on a mission as a missionary, I believe, to Lima in Peru. And some of the goals that they had in their 2-year missionary time was to find people to baptize. And baptism is about getting people to understand being what it means to be a Christian. And then a baptism is them having an outward showing of something that had happened inside. So they get immersed in water and then they come out. Fine. But most missionaries tended to baptize only maybe 4 people, 2 to 4 people in their time as missionaries. Whereas he set a goal to baptize 100 people by the end of his time. He had a really big goal and he had a time limit of 2 years. In order to do that, though, he had to put in place some filtering questions, questions that would let him know whether the person he was speaking to was very likely to want to get baptized or whether he should move on to someone else. Maybe they enjoy spending time with and talking to, but who had no intention of getting baptized or converting into Christianity, that sort of thing. And so with his filtering questions, I can't remember what the questions were, and I'd have to look that up, but I believe it was something about whether they were looking to get married, whether they would come to church that Sunday. With those questions at the back of his mind, he was able to easily filter out the people who were not likely to want to be baptized. And so as a result, within 30 seconds, he could filter them out, which means that no harm, no foul. He could just move on to the next person. And by the end of his time, he baptized a record 118 people. That for me blew my mind and challenged me on many different levels. The first level was the fact that he even thought to have that goal in the first place. Many people would say, well, it's the effort that counts. Maybe you just sow the seed and then hopefully someone else might come and speak to them later, and that might get them to understand the message of the gospel and learn about being a Christian. But he took the view that it was possible to actually baptize 100 people in his time when people were only doing less than 5% of that number. So that stood out to me because just the idea of having a really big goal and deciding to achieve that within a short period of time is another thing. But it also challenged me because I'm usually the person who likes to, make sure I see things through to the end. So if I start something with someone, even if it looks like it's not, there's a huge chance it may not work. If there's a small chance it might work, I would kind of hammer in on it. Whereas the view he took was that there are many people who are already at the point of wanting to learn more about his faith, Christianity, and also who were ready to actually go on the path to getting baptized. He could just focus his time on the people who were. And I thought, that is interesting. That's a definitely different approach, and one that obviously yielded good results for him, right? And so that just made me think about my process and a lot of things I'm doing and focusing on. Am I actually putting the effort in the places that make the most sense to do so? What I mean by that is, should I actually be considering, right, okay, rather than looking to put something out into the world and convince people of its worth, how about I put something out into the world that people already know? So let me say, take YouTube channel, for example. Rather than putting things out into the world where I'm not necessarily getting traction, maybe I could instead choose to focus on the areas where I am getting traction. On my channel, I've been doing a lot of these videos about getting unstuck, which is great and I think will be useful and the right audience will find it soon. But the videos aren't yielding as many views as if I decided to do videos on other topics, such as videos where I do explainers, like how people use particular gear or software. I tend to get better results with those and people interact more and engage more and respond more. Although I can do those, I don't know if I enjoy it as much, but The question is, what am I optimizing for? I think that's the thing. I'm not just optimizing. I'm not just saying I just want to have a YouTube channel. I want to make an impact. But then the question is, where am I looking to make an impact? And what are the metrics that I would be tracking that would make me realize that, yes, I have made the impact that I want to make? So I don't necessarily have a full answer on that, but I do know that that shook my thinking, and it's just got me thinking and rethinking my approach to a lot of things and trying to figure out, okay, what's the best approach to take here? What should I be doing? Where should I be focusing my time and energy on? For example, in reading that book, it became very clear to me that I need to spend a lot of time, more time on my PhD, more focused time on my PhD. And when you're talking, so in the book, he talks about the concept of the floor, focus, and frame. And I'm going to focus on floor. So the floor is the minimum standard you set and what the things that you will say yes to versus the things that you're going to say no to in order to be able to say yes to those things. For me, I need to be saying yes more to my PhD and no to other things that maybe take my time but are not as important. I could spend and prioritize my PhD more such that I'm able to get the rest of it done a lot quicker than if I go at my current pace. It means maybe doubling the amount of time I work on my PhD on a daily basis. I think with my PhD before, I was stuck in just knowing how to progress in some areas, but I think I'm getting beyond that now. So the next phase would just be to keep going. But if I set myself a ridiculous goal, like I've got to finish this PhD in the next 3 months, what do I need to achieve that? It would mean maybe being more efficient in my processes, maybe working in different ways, leveraging AI. That could be something to explore. There are different things to look at, but the idea is realizing that when you set yourself really big, hairy, audacious goals, BHAGs as they call them, and you use time as a tool to help you think differently about achieving them, you can achieve bigger things. It just means that if I tell myself, okay, I've got to finish this PhD in 2 years, my approach to finishing it would be different from if I told myself, I've got to finish this in the next 3 months. A lot of things that I may have thought were useful and important to do may no longer be as useful or important to do. And I may have to make some hard decisions about where I'm going to focus, maybe even change my focus slightly and how I go about doing the PhD work, such that I'm able to streamline the work in such a way that I'm able to get it done in the time frame that I'm aiming for. I wonder if what I'm saying makes sense. Let me know if it does in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. But yeah, it's just that book has literally blown my mind. If you're interested in learning more about it, go to scaling.com or sign up to Benjamin Hardy's newsletter, and he'll send you a link to it. But it's been mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. There's so many more lessons I've gotten from this book. I'll share them over time. When the book does come out fully for public view, definitely get it. I got it as an audiobook. Well, I got access to it as an audiobook, but get the written book, get the audiobook, listen to it once, twice, 3 times, many times. It's something I'm going to be listening to over and over again because it is literally blowing my mind and challenging me to think differently and act differently and hopefully achieve differently, massively, way beyond what I could have ever thought. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. I'll catch you in the next one. It's nighttime. It's a bit dark. So I've got to go home, sleep early, and then get to work on that PhD. All right. I'll catch you in the next one. In the meantime, check out the other videos in the series, the Get Unstuck series. It should appear somewhere on the screen, probably where my face is. All right. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.